Hey everyone, welcome to this Marvel Recap Explainer. Today we are diving into an incredibly fascinating journey. We're going to map out the transformation of a tragic orphan into Marvel's absolute most terrifying armored despot, Doctor Doom. So, if you're a lore fan, you are definitely in for a treat as we untangle this wild web of science, magic, and just sheer unyielding willpower that created a legendary monarch.
Never again will mortal eyes gaze upon Victor Von Doom. For now, there is only Doctor Doom. Man, that theatrical declaration, it wasn't just some empty threat. That was literally the birth of an entirely new persona, born out of deep pain and forged in absolute unyielding arrogance.
To truly understand Doom, we're going to trace his psychological evolution through 4 defining chapters today. Number 1, the tragic orphan. Number 2, forging the armored despot. Number 3, clashing egos with Namor. And finally, number 4, the Wakanda Doom War.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the tragic orphan, science, magic, and loss.
So, our story starts over in the Eastern European nation of Latveria, where Doom's foundation was built on just profound tragedy. Young Victor was raised by a healer father, Werner, and a mother, Cynthia, who actually practiced the dark arts. Well, when Cynthia was manipulated by a demon, her soul was taken straight to the underworld. And soon after that, his father froze to death in the Winter Hills while trying to shield Victor from the local baron's soldiers. Claiming his father's scientific tools and a chest of his mother's mystical items really forged Victor into this incredible dual-threat genius from a very, very young age.
So what happens when limitless intellect is fueled by unhealed trauma? I really want you to keep that crucial question in the back of your mind. Victor quickly mastered both science and magic, but he used his mystical prowess almost exclusively in these desperate, failed attempts to reach his mother's soul in the underworld, essentially building massive emotional and physical walls around himself.
Moving on to Section 2, forging the armored despot, the college rivalry, and the mask.
You know, Doom's brilliant inventions end up earning him a scholarship to New York State University. And there, he immediately dismisses a young Reed Richards as his absolute inferior, refusing to even share a dorm room with the guy. But this arrogance led to an explosion that changed everything. Doom had built a machine to find his mother's soul, but when Richards pointed out a pretty big flaw in the math, Doom's ego just totally refused to listen. The machine exploded, scarring his face and getting him expelled. And, unable to admit he was at fault, Doom blamed Richards, sparking Marvel's most bitter, lifelong rivalry.
After wandering the world, Doom found a mystic order in Tibet, mastering the quote-unquote science of magic. In his impatience, he actually forced the monks to place his newly forged iron mask on his face before it had even cooled down, completely and permanently searing his flesh. Now fully a conqueror, he returned to Latveria. He sparked a citizen revolt, personally flew into the cathedral, and literally strangled King Fortunov to claim the throne. The orphaned boy was finally a king.
To maintain that iron grip, Doom utilized his scientific genius to whip up an army of Doombots. These are highly advanced robotic duplicates that impersonate him flawlessly. Actually, wait, the most chilling part is that they are programmed so deeply, they often genuinely believe they are the real Doctor Doom. They act as the ultimate extension of his omnipresent rule.
Which brings us to Section 3, clashing egos with Namor, monarchs of land and sea.
With his throne totally secured, Doom's unyielding ambition forced him to test his mettle against fellow kings, starting with the mighty Submariner. And it's fascinating because these two monarchs are incredibly similar. Massive egos, a flair for the dramatic, and of course, a habit of speaking in the third person. Yet, they are fundamentally divided by where they draw their power from. Doom rules through absolute strength and conquest, right? While Namor's power actually stems from his people's genuine love and his drive to protect Atlantis.
Their dynamic is just this wild pendulum of team-ups and betrayals. I mean, Doom once goaded Namor into an alliance against the Fantastic Four, only to immediately betray him by shooting the building, with Namor inside, into space. Crazy, right? Namor retaliated by stranding Doom on a meteor. Yet, years later, they teamed up to wake comatose Atlanteans. Through all the backstabbing, they developed a really rare, grudging mutual respect, though it's constantly hampered by the fact that Doom considers being any man's second choice a profound insult.
All right, Section 4, the Wakandan Doom War, conquest versus betterment.
So this brings us to his ultimate ideological clash with T'Challa, the Black Panther.
Why was a man who already conquered his own country so obsessed with Wakanda's vibranium? Well, when T'Challa asked why Doom didn't just use his own tech to reorder the world, Doom revealed his core philosophy. He firmly believed that a mind as brilliant as his shouldn't be limited by what he called the mewling moralities of lesser men.
Just look at the ruthless efficiency he employs to get that prize. Doom partnered with Dasturi separatists to destabilize Wakanda from the inside out. He deliberately sparked his civil war just to distract T'Challa, even holding Queen Aurora hostage. All of this absolute chaos was orchestrated simply to buy himself the time to personally plunder Wakanda's mystical vibranium vault.
But here's the crazy part. At the vault, he faced a mystical barrier that only opened to someone with pure intentions. Judged by the Panther god Bast, Doom revealed he had seen countless visions of the future, and the only vision where the world survived was a world that he dominated, Doom World. In a truly shocking twist, Bast actually allowed Doom to take the vibranium. No way, right? But yes, because Doom's twisted, ego-driven intention to save humanity was, in his own mind, entirely pure. Defeating Doom required an unthinkable strategy. T'Challa realized he simply couldn't outthink Doom's raw genius. Instead, he used shadow physics to teleport the mercenary Deadpool directly into Doom's compound. While Doom used sorcery to exponentialize his armor's power with the vibranium, T'Challa made the ultimate sacrifice. He completely deactivated all vibranium on Earth. He literally destroyed his own nation's greatest resource just to render the despot's prize utterly useless.
This clash perfectly highlights a tragic irony. You see, Doom gained absolute power, but he isolated himself completely. He built better walls, relying strictly on his armor and his unchecked ego. T'Challa, conversely, was deeply connected. He willingly sacrificed his most prized resource, knowing he could immediately rebuild his shattered nation using the one thing Dr. Doom fundamentally lacked: friends and allies.
So, can limitless power ever truly compensate for a kingdom built in total isolation? I'll leave you with that final thought to ponder about Victor Von Doom. He is an unparalleled genius, a master of magic and science, a man who conquered his corner of the world, but who never quite healed the frightened orphan hiding underneath the armor.